What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Babbles Nonsense podcast. This week, you're getting to hear all about my chaotic last week. So if you're into that, it's going to be involved with cat bites, dog attacks, your pet having surgery, all the things. So stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. So I had every intention of doing like a follow-up on everything last week with like the hair and all the stuff, but then I just had a chaotic week after the podcast released. So if you're new here, you probably don't know that I have a dog. She's a little Chihuahua named Kricket. And she's the most well-mannered Chihuahua. I know a lot of people say that about their dogs, but she really is. People, when they meet her, are very shocked that she's a Chihuahua. And she is a plump Chihuahua. She's a little overweight. Well, she's where she needs to be. She's on the upper end of her weight category. So the vet wants her under 10 pounds. She's 9.8. We're not pushing it. She'll be 13 on September the 1st. So she's a geriatric dog, but she still has a lot of life in her, acts like a puppy for the most part. She loves all humans, goes to every human being possible, wants you to pick her up, wants you to hold her. She also loves every animal. And a lot of that had to do with when I got her, my aunt had a very loving Chihuahua. And that was the only time I had met a nice Chihuahua was through my aunts. And I was like, how did you get your Chihuahua to be so well-mannered and like people? And she was like, well, you just have to socialize them very young because Chihuahuas can be a dog that can become territorial. And a lot of people, because Chihuahuas are so small, will hold them. And like if people go to pet them, like kind of either turn their arms and stuff like that. So Chihuahuas just learn, okay, this is my person, got to protect them, and we don't like anybody else. So with Kricket, I did the opposite. I did what my aunt told me. As soon as I got her, I socialized her with every friend's dog. Most of my friends' dogs were larger dogs, larger breeds. And so she just all of a sudden, I guess, thought she was a larger breed dog. But that helped a lot, because, like I said, she's just a very friendly Chihuahua. Now, of course, she barks when people knock on the door and things like that. But for the most part, she is really good, well-mannered, and just loves people. So last week, and this is all from my perception and what I recall and the events that took place, because for me, in my side of the story, it was very traumatic. I have a neighbor who has cows. I've interviewed her on the podcast. We're good friends, and Kricket loves them. Kricket just loves going over to her house. And Kricket has mostly, for 75% of her life now, has been on a leash. And ever since I moved into the house, she was still on a leash because she's just crazy, and she can run very fast, and I cannot catch her. Well, the past 2 years, I was like, I wonder if she can go outside without a leash. So it started in the wintertime because she doesn't like the cold, and I would let her go outside and go to the bathroom because she comes right back in because it's cold. And then in the summertime, we started going for a walk, not like in the neighborhood, but the way she goes to the bathroom is like we go out my backyard, and there's like a side road that we can go down, but we go past my neighbor's backyard. And she's done really well with it, other than she will occasionally go outside and go straight to my neighbor's house, or like if we're coming back from the bathroom to go home, she'll also go straight to my neighbor's house. She doesn't really go anywhere else other than my neighbor's. There's been a couple times she'll run around the neighborhood, and she thinks you're playing a game of tag, you're it, or whatever, because she's running around in circles thinking you're just playing a game with her, and it's very frustrating. Anyways, so last week I had gotten off work, and I took her out to go to the bathroom, and was walking past, my neighbor's house. I was on the phone with my aunt. She had some very serious news to tell me about her health. And so I was on the phone with my aunt as we walked outside. I was, I can't remember if I was holding Kricket or not past my neighbor's house. I try to do that because my neighbor got cats not too long ago. maybe over a little over a year, maybe 2 years now. And Cricket, like I said, has a bad habit of just running over to her house because she used to not have cats, or she did have one cat, but it would always be gone, or it would be up on its little cat stand. And Cricket likes to go on her back porch and stand at her door and wait for her to open her door because she really likes my neighbors. And she's done well with the cats. She'll like, I guess you never know what an animal's thinking, but in my opinion, I'm like, she's probably like, these cats are my size, somebody I can finally play with, because like I said, all my friends have bigger dogs. They don't have small dogs. So she's used to being around bigger animals. But she still never really tried to play with the cats. Like, she's ran up to them before and sniffed them. And I end up being the one that freaks out. And I'm like, get away from the cats. Number one, because I'm terrified of cats. I just feel... So if you listen to this pod and you have a cat and you love cats, they're not my cup of tea. Like, they're cute. I'm not trying to pet them. I'm not trying to hold them, because I personally feel like cats they don't warn you when they're mad, and they just attack for no reason. And maybe it was from a bad traumatizing experience when I was a kid, where a cat was just sitting in my lap and I was just sitting there doing nothing. And all of a sudden it just bit me on my nose. And I was like, what is going on? But anyways, last week when I was walking my dog past my neighbor's house, we went to the bathroom. She did her thing. It was fine. And so we're coming back, and I didn't really pick her up because I didn't see the cats on the porch on the way out to the bathroom with my dog. And I was still on the phone with my aunt. And so I saw her run up to her porch, and then I did see the cats, and I was like, Cricket, get off her porch. And I went to find her. Like, she didn't go up to the cats or anything. She went up to my neighbor's back door, standing there waiting for my neighbor to open the door, just wagging her tail. So I come up behind her to pick her up. And of course, she's running like it's a game of tag. And she runs around me to go back home, because she does listen to me. She was going home like I told her to. And I don't know if this is where she got too close to the cat and the cat felt cornered or what, but she ran by the cat. I heard the cat hiss. She kept going. She's halfway to my house in the grass. And then all of a sudden I see the cat just beeline towards her. And then I panic. I start freaking out. I'm like, Cricket, go, screaming. Like, and then I see the cat pounce on my dog. And I'm like, get off my dog. And I take off after my dog. And then I feel another cat come up behind me and bite me in my leg, but I didn't have time to worry about that. I just kept going. I was like, oh my gosh, let's keep going to my dog, because she was on top of my dog. And I've seen these cats, they'll catch birds, little bunnies and stuff like that. And my dog's kind of the size of a rabbit. So I'm just like, this cat is going to kill my dog. So I get up to the fight, and I pick up my shoe, because I'm like, I don't know how to get her off of her other than I'm going to have to interfere with my shoe. Sorry if y'all think that is wrong, but this was my dog's life. And I pick up my shoe and I drop it, and I see the cat. It distracts the cat. So the cat looks at me, and then Cricket's able to get away, but she's like yelping and there's blood everywhere. My dog is white, black and brown. So all I see is blood all over her white fur, and she's running towards home, but she's like not moving very fast, and my dog is very fast. So I'm like, oh my gosh, she's injured. And then I turn back towards the cat, and it's coming after me at this point. So I take off my other shoe, and as it comes towards me, like it's going to bite me, I have to hit it to knock it away. And when I hit it, it runs off. So I run to my dog, and I'm like trying to get close to her, but she's obviously scared, and she doesn't realize it's me at first. So I had to like give her a minute so that she wouldn't bite me. And then I sat down on the grass, and I was like, come here, Cricket, it's fine. And she's just crying and yelping, and I'm trying to figure out where this blood is coming from. And I'll tell you this, even though I'm healthcare, I'm not a veterinarian. Like, I'm just like panicking. Also, like, if you're in healthcare and you've ever tried to treat someone you're close to, it's very emotional and it's hard. Everything just goes out the window. And so I can't figure out where she's bleeding. I can now feel my leg at this point throbbing, and I'm like, okay, let's just go in, figure out where you're bleeding from. And so I can put her on my counter, and I call my friend, and I was just like, hey, like, this is just what's happened. What do I do? And she's kind of walking me through everything, since I'm like in hysterical panic mode. And then I finally find that Cricket's ear is split in half, and she won't obviously let me look at it very well because she's yelping every time I touch it. And I am very fortunate and very blessed that I know a lot of people in my life in different places, because her vet is actually one of my good friends' twin sister. And I texted my friend and I was like, I'm so sorry to have to ask you this. I know it is so unprofessional, because I try not to do that. Like I don't try to like get advice or something from someone's profession, because I know how it feels when people do it to me and you're not really close to them. Because I never want someone to think like I'm trying to abuse like their position or their profession and not like have to pay for it. But I was mainly concerned, like, do I need to take her to the ER? Because it was obviously after 5. Usually that's how these things go. And I was like, or can I bring her in tomorrow? Like, what do I need to do? Because my friend was actually telling me that I think one of her dogs or cats like had the same thing, but the vet really couldn't do anything. And it was very like clean cut. So they just monitored her. But anyways, I texted my friend the picture and I was like, so sorry to ask you this, but can you let me know if I need to take Kricket to the ER, or do I need to take her to y'all tomorrow? And she responded back and said, as long as the bleeding is controlled and she's not in a lot of pain, then you can just bring her in tomorrow morning first thing and we will look at her. But don't feed her, because we're probably going to have to sedate her and look at the laceration really well, and just make sure it doesn't need anything. And I was like, okay. So did all that, got her cleaned up. Then late, like after that, like probably 30-45 minutes later, I'm assessing my leg, which probably should have done once I realized my dog was okay. Because cat bites, if you didn't know, are very dirty. They carry a bacteria in their mouth, and I'm going to probably butcher the name, but it's called Pasteurella multocida coda. I don't know. Anyways, but basically it's a bacteria that can cause rapid cellulitis within 12 to 24 hours. And so you have to end up getting antibiotics and then a tetanus shot, obviously, because it punctured the skin. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I hate taking antibiotics. If you know anything about me, especially because I'm in healthcare, but I'm also like very passionate about gut health and functional medicine and not overusing antibiotics, which that's a whole, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think we do need to do a public service announcement on antibiotics. So maybe that'll be next week's episode, because I think so many people misunderstand what antibiotics are used for, and they're often overused, which creates a whole nother problem. So yes, put a pin in that. We'll probably follow up with that either next week or within the next few weeks. But anyways, had to get some antibiotics, super upset about that. And then the biggest thing, if you ever get bitten by an animal, you want to know about the rabies vaccinations, because if the rabies vaccine is expired and then the animal cannot be monitored for 10 days, then the recommendation is to give a rabies vaccine, because who wants to die of rabies? Nobody. Look it up. Does not look pleasant, does not look fun. But the theory in the medical literature says that if the animal can be kept for 10 days and monitored, if they have no symptoms of rabies by the end of the 10 days, then you're fine. You don't need prophylaxis, because usually if they bit you because they're rabid and have rabies, then they will pretty much die within 10 days, because that means the rabies virus was already in their brain and in their saliva. That's from the research I did this past weekend. I know we used to give rabies vaccines a lot in the ER, but I didn't really understand the risk versus not risk and things like that. Obviously, I know no one wants to die of rabies. Like, can you imagine if I ended up with rabies, guys? Like, that's the way, you know what? It still could happen, because we're not 10 days post-exposure yet. But unfortunately, the cat that bit me, rabies, was expired by a month. And the cat that got Kricket, and I don't know if it was bite or scratch, because that does make a difference, but regardless, my dog is vaccinated for the rabies and it was up to date. And that cat, the one that got my dog, their rabies was up to date. And I'm like, of course, it couldn't have been the other way around. Not that I want my dog to be bit or scratched or anything, but why couldn't the one that bit me, since we both got attacked, be the one that the rabies was up to date? So my neighbor can monitor the cat for 10 days. So that's great. I don't have to go get the rabies vaccine yet. I'll let y'all know when that expires, because I think we have until next Saturday, or maybe this Sunday. I think it's this Sunday. So by this Sunday, as long as the cat's not showing any signs or symptoms of rabies, then I'm good. I don't have to get vaccinated. If the cat runs off and she cannot find the cat, then I have to go get a rabies vaccine. So y'all all be praying for me for that to not happen, because I don't know if you've ever seen a rabies vaccination be given, but essentially the first shot is a lot. It's the most painful. Like if you're thinking just a little typical vaccine in your arm, no, honey. It's a lot of, actually, you know what? I'm going to look that up for y'all real quick. Okay, I'm glad I looked it up, because I remember there was 2 shots that we gave. So the vaccine is just that normal 1 milliliter or mLs in the muscle, usually the arms. But it's the rabies immune globulin, the HRIG, that's given that first time, and you have to do it per body weight in kilograms. So it's 20 units per kilogram. So then let's see, how much would I get? So I weighed today at the doctor, I was 127 pounds, and you divide that by 2.2 to get your kilograms. So I'm 57.7 kilograms, and then you're going to multiply that by 20. So I would get 1,154 units. And so however that is, in milliliters, but I know it's a lot. So when we used to do it in the ER, that first dose could be like 10 mils. It could be like 15 mils. Obviously it depends on your body weight, and you have to put as much as you can around the bite itself, or bites if you have it, and then as much as will fit. And then after that, whatever is left, you have to divide into different muscle groups pending the IM injection. So you have to inject the rest of it in a muscle, whatever wouldn't fit around the bite. And so sometimes that's 2 shots in each arm. Sometimes that's a shot in each arm, a shot in each hip. And so it just doesn't look fun. And then after that, you have to go every 7 days for another injection for a month. I ain't got time for that. I got to work. So the vaccine, I'm not worried about. It was that immunoglobulin that I was like, And again, very blessed and fortunate, because used to working in the ER, I have a lot of ER friends that are doctors. And so what do? I messaged Dr. Solis, who has also been on this podcast. And I was like, hey, here's what happened. The rabies vaccine is only expired by a month. What are you thinking? And he was like, I think you're fine to just monitor the animal. He said, it's not a no risk. It is a very low risk, because number one, do vaccines really expire on the date that they say they're going to expire? Who knows? No one knows. They only do the testing for how long they're good for. So that's good news that it was only 1 month expired. And then 2, they said it's very rare that cats get rabies, and there's not a lot of documented cases on it, but still makes it a low risk, not a no risk. And then 3, they can monitor the cat for 10 days. So he was like, I would just wait until the end of the 10 days. If the cat runs off, you got to go get it. Or if they start showing signs or symptoms, you got to go get it. Because apparently we have a little bit longer from the bite. Like we have a couple of months. I think it said 1 to 2 months pending from the research that I could find. And then of course the tetanus shot, which hurt like a bia. I don't know what it is with tetanus shots, but I hate them so much. Which makes no sense to me, because to me, like when you look up tetanus, it's supposed to be like old rusty stuff, because tetanus is in dirt, and I got bit. I don't think a cat is out eating dirt, but whatever. I was always taught that it was like either rusty, crusty nails, when you get cut with something that's dirty, but that's what I was told to do. I was told to go get a tetanus shot. And so that's what I did. I took Kricket into the vet the next morning. She was fine. So she hurts her back sometimes because she has arthritis, because she's old. So she has some just as needed doggy Motrin from the vet. And so fortunately I was able to give her that for pain control when it happened, and that controlled her pain all night, and the bleeding did stop. So I didn't have to take her to the ER. We took her in the next morning. I think the most thing that she was mad about that day that I took her to the vet was that she had to fast, and I couldn't feed her in the morning. So she was like, I don't understand why you're not feeding me. Feed me. Took her to the vet, and they ended up having to sedate her and repairing the ear because the cartilage was exposed. So then she also got put on antibiotics for the cartilage being exposed, just in case, to prevent any infection. And then I think they said when they got in there was actually 2 splits, so her ear split twice, so they had to repair both of that. And that was last week. And then she has dissolvable sutures, whatever you want to call it, that should dissolve, they said, within 10 days. But if not, then I could take her back in and they'll just cut it out. And they just obviously told me to not let her like mess with it. And I was at the time thinking like she can't. Like I was thinking like licking, right? Because dogs will lick wounds and stuff like that, like when they get fixed. And I wasn't thinking about her pawing at her ear, because if you've ever had stitches, you know, on that second, third day, they start getting really dry. They get really itchy. And then of course it's on her ear. So it probably feels really heavy to her. I don't know how many stitches she has in, because when I picked her up, they sprayed her ear silver. Get to that in just a second. But, actually, let's just talk about it now. So when I picked her up, we were talking about the not letting her mess with her ear. And I was like, okay, she should be fine. They're like, we could give you a cone, but we think she'll be fine. If she starts picking at it, you can go anywhere like Petco, PetSmart, pick up a cone. And I was like, okay. I was like, surely to God you won't. But then she was like, in this silver. So basically they sprayed her ear silver in like a really shiny metallic. It almost looked like the Tin Man. I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, can we do that for Halloween, or is that dangerous to do her whole body in? But it was really bright and shiny. They said this serves no purpose other than it will let you know, like if you wake up and you see some of it missing, that means she's messing with her ear. And I was like, oh, that's really smart, because how would you know in the middle of the night if you're sleeping or if you have to go to work or whatever? And so she started messing with it, of course, yesterday, by day 2, about that itchy time. And that's mainly what it was. Like, she kept trying to paw at it or scratch it with her back foot, and I'd have to stop her, or she would try to run her ear up and down the carpet. I don't know if you've ever had a dog that will like glide their whole body across the carpet. She does that a lot. So I had to stop her from doing that. And she just doesn't understand, which is, funny in a way, but it's not. But overall, she's doing good. She's not in any pain. She only had to take her little Motrin pain medicine for 2 days. She definitely will not let anyone get near that ear still. She's very protective over it. I know my friend Ivy always comes over on Saturdays for coffee in the mornings, and she brings her, baby over. He's not even a year old. And of course, the first thing he did was grabbed her ear. I was like, oh my God, because Kricket just put out this huge yelp. And I looked, it's fine. She didn't pop a stitch or anything. But I mean, you can't blame a baby for grabbing something that's shiny, right? Right. And as far as the cat attack goes, like, I don't blame the cat, because animals are animals. And I was in her yard, and Kricket did run on my neighbor's porch, and animals are going to do what they're going to do. And I don't feel like this was like a rabies, like rabid cat. I feel like it was just maybe potentially Kricket got too close to her, and the cat was just felt cornered or something, since she was trying to get off the porch, and the cat was in between me and her when she was trying to get off the porch. I don't know. It is what it is. But needless to say, she will be either carried past the house or a leash from now on, because now I'm super terrified of cats, now being bitten by one and my dog being attacked by one. And I'm not even going to lie about how traumatic it was. Like, I need to seriously, I kid you not, make a therapy session, because for whatever reason, and I don't know if this is what PTSD is or what, but I keep replaying the incident in my head, and I'm like, this could have been so much worse. Like, she literally could have died, and it makes me so sad. And I'm like, but that didn't, I keep telling myself, but that didn't happen. She's fine. It was a minor injury. We're thankful for that. Everything is fixed. It's good. Just waiting on the 10-day mark for her stitches to dissolve, and the 10-day mark for the rabies vaccine, or the cat to be monitored for rabies, so I know if I have to get the vaccine or not. And yeah, that was my end of last week. So then, of course, I had to like watch her over the weekend and stay home, and I had to miss my friend's gender reveal, which sucked, but I really had to make sure she didn't pull her stitches out or anything like that, because I didn't have a cone yet. So then I went and got a cone so that if I saw her doing that when I went to work, I could put it on her. But usually if I'm not home, she doesn't do any of that. She sleeps the whole time. It's usually when I'm home, it's almost like she's taunting me. Like, I'm going to do this just to taunt you. She probably is, because she's a lot like me, if I had to guess. But yeah, so that's what's been going on in my life. And I just thought I would share that, because I thought it would make a good story for the pod. But yeah, I really think I am going to have to educate the population on antibiotics. Okay? Maybe that's next week, maybe in a few weeks. I don't know. But thank you if you stayed this long listening to that story. And until next time, guys. Bye.